Hello everybody. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I have a Cricut Maker machine and I love it, and it's been sat on its bench with a dust cover on since I received it. Unfortunately, the dust cover has seen better days. One of my cats has taken a liking to it, and so I need to make a new cover for my machine. And it just so happens that I have a lovely addition to my Cricut family. I have the EasyPress 3. So what I'm going to do today is use the EasyPress 3 along with my Cricut Maker and make a cover for my machine to protect it, and learn all about the EasyPress 3 while I'm at it. I hope you're going to enjoy this video and learn along with me. So I'm here on the Cricut Design Space and I'm going to start a new project. I'm keeping this project very simple because it will be a large project and it will be in my main living area, so I don't want it too over the top. We need to start off with a text. So I brought up my text box, but I want a different kind of font than that one. So I'm going up to the left hand side at the top to my fonts, and I'll bring it over here so I can see it a little bit better and have a quick look around and find the font that I want. I think the font that I want is called Backpack. Yes, that's the one. Okay, close that up, and of course I want it considerably bigger than that, and I also want to say Maker, like that, and that looks very good to me. The other thing I want to do is add some flowers on the sheet for my design. So I will go into the images and I will look up flowers, and it will bring me a huge variety of flowers. I want something very simple. It's just more like the idea of a flower. So I'm just going to skim through and find what I want. Okay, I think I have found the one that I want. I'm after a flower with the Cricut Access. So there we go. I'm going to add that to my canvas. And I'd like to make a couple of copies of that. So up the top on the right hand side, there's a little box with a cross. It says duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate that one a couple of times. And I'd like to have it in a few different sizes. It doesn't matter which way that the flowers are facing because I'll be cutting them out individually anyway. So I'm happy with that, and I think I will make some more. So I'm going to duplicate the three of them again and just move them out of the way. I think I will highlight them all and just reduce the size of them a little bit because I have to be aware of the size that they are on the page. The sheet only comes to here, so we'll keep that in mind. Okay, and that's pretty much what I need. So it will be lovely to have a nice cover for my machine. I do use my machine quite regularly, and with the addition of the EasyPress 3, it will be wonderful. In fact, my son is so looking forward to trying it out on some t-shirts for himself. He really enjoys art and things like that, so I'm sure he'll come up with some fantastic designs for himself. Okay, so now we're going to make it. So on the top right hand side over, I'm going to press Make It, and it will bring it up. Because it's a large design, it's going to come up on 2 different pages, and I only have 1 sheet of the particular vinyl color that I'm going to use, but that's not a problem for me, because the second page I will just flip the mat over and the flowers can print down here. So basically the word on 1 page, I will flip my mat and the flowers will come down here. Now it's very important when you're using words to mirror the image. On the left hand side, if you can see my cursor here, above this highlighted page 2, there's a little button and it says mirror. When you press it, the words turn the opposite way and that little button is highlighted in green. It's very important to do that, otherwise your words will turn out on your project the wrong way around. And that's all we have to do there. We come down to the bottom right hand side and press continue. Have our Maker turned on so it automatically connects up. If you don't have your machine on, it will prompt you to turn your machine on. It will come up with a series of boxes and you'll just pick out the material that you're going to be cutting. And I'm using Everyday Iron-On. So I'm going to press that box, and then it's going to instruct me what to do with my machine. So I'm going to go over to my machine now and carry on from there. Alright, so I'm at my machine and I'm using the Strong Bond Cricut Everyday Iron-On. And I think this is like in a very, I think it's black, or if not, it's very dark charcoal. And so my machine is flashing over on the right hand side, so I'm just going to put it into my machine. You must put your iron-on vinyl shiny side down. That's very important. Now we're going to press our Cricut button and it will do its job. Now I'm unloading the mat because it's waiting for the second page. But what I'm going to do is just turn my mat around, because I know, let me just check, I know that those flowers will only come to the top of this and they won't interfere with the word. So my load button is flashing again, so I press that. And we'll just release it. And so it's quite hard to see. You really do have to look at them on a certain angle to see where they are. But they have all cut and they're not overlapping in any way. Okay, so I'm down the bottom right hand corner here. There's the green button and it says done. So I'm just going to do that. I also just want to say, if you want to use this project, I will put a link to it in the description box below, and the details of the font and the flower that I use will come up on your screen when you go into your Cricut account. Alright, so at the moment that's all I need to do on my Cricut machine, and now over to the fun stuff of ironing. Okay, so here's my vinyl. I have my Cricut weeding tool here, and I need to weed out the images. And sometimes you've just got to get your weeding tool under that vinyl to separate it from the sticky back side. And you have to be gentle because, like I've said before, vinyl stretches. And so there's no hurry. Just let me get my rubbish container here. Hopefully that's, just move it up a bit. And you just very carefully, I hope I'm in shot there, very carefully start to pull the vinyl down. No hurry at all. And it will reveal the images that we're after. And it can be very difficult to see, but I've got a door next to me here, which is fortunate because I can just see the image. That, and I can continue on and release all of my flowers. And of course on the other side here, I have my words. And this is what I mean about, you know, being careful, especially if you're new or haven't had a lot of experience with vinyl, like I haven't. You don't want anything too delicate because you will make a lot of work for yourself. Start off with something that's just a little bit easier and learn as you go along. Now, what I want to do is, I have a piece that hasn't been used here, and I want to salvage that. Okay, now I know that doesn't look very tidy, but I can still use this remnant. So let's just there we go. Okay, now I can finish. Oh, we were doing our words, weren't we? I just had to do that first before I went too far down. Plus it also makes it a little bit easier to pull the excess off. There we go. So there's our word, and I'll go ahead and finish all the flowers up as well. And there we have it. So now I am going to measure my fabric for my cover, and we'll be back to this at the right time. Now I have my Cricut machine on the table here so I could take some measurements, and I've just used a tape measure and measured the length this way like that, the height of it, and like around it like that as well. And I've come up with some measurements, and I've been a little bit on the generous side because I do want to add a little bit of padding to the cover itself so that it's protective and not just a dust cover. And so these were the measurements I came up with, and like I said, being generous, so to allow seam allowances and things like that. So for the length of it, it's 22.5 inches, which is 57 centimeters. For the height, I have 7.5 inches, which is 18.5 centimeters. And for the width of it, it is 8.5 inches, which is 21.5 centimeters. So what I will have to do is cut a piece of fabric 22.5 inches by 18 inches, which is 57 centimeters by 46 centimeters. And that will be my cover fabric. And then I will have to cut 2 end pieces. The width of them will have to be 8.5 inches, which is 21.5 centimeters, and the height the same as what I've got here, but it's the shape I have to work out because it's not an oval. The profile of the Cricut machine is more like this, so I need to make a little template. And by what I will do is I will just use a piece of paper, like copy paper, like this. I will maneuver my machine carefully around to one side like that and try and come up with, you know, the shape of it. Like that will go up like that and then down like that. So if I give myself a pen or pencil, I know that that will go like that sort of thing. Well, it won't, it will go like that, but it's this shape here I need to get, which is more like that. And this one over here is more like that. Now, let's have a look. So as you can see, it's longer at the back than it is at the front. So once again, I'm going to have to cut that out and be quite generous. Like that. So I'm going to cut it out quite generous. And I'll probably be even a little bit more generous than this as well when I cut the fabric out. Now, I probably won't put a padding on the sides. It will just be on the actual cover part of it. I haven't left any extra on the bottom here, so I need to write that on there. Need to add extra and an arrow at the bottom there, so I don't forget that. So I'll need to cut 2 of these. I'm just having a little look. I think that should be fine, but rather than see how it's got a dish effect like that, I don't actually want that. That's because there's a curve there when I was doing that. What I want it to be like is more more like that. See how I've arched it a little bit rather than it going down like that? I think that will work a bit better. All right, so this is how I design things. It's all trial and error. What is our measurement on that? So we have, and I need to add a little bit. What did I have for my height? I had 7.5. Okay, well that's all right because I can add more. And they're all adjustable. I'll probably pin things together first to see if they fit properly and make any adjustments as I go along. Like that, and that will be about 8.5 that way, which is what I've said here as well. Okay, and that's the inner lines. So now I'm going to cut some fabric. Move those to the side for a moment. Put my Cricut back over here. Okay, now when I was at Spotlight last, they had a sale on, which is always lovely, and I bought this fabric. Just let me put the light on. I am sorry about that. I'd been out and turned the light off. This is actually cotton quilt backing fabric, so it's really wide, and it was on sale, and it's lovely because it's got this neutral paisley pattern, which is really pretty. And so I just want to be cutting some of this, and I'm going to cut it according to those dimensions I just told you about. And because I have to open it all up, I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, so I have pressed my fabric. I've cut it out. I cut it 1/2 inch bigger than the measurements. I said I would probably add a bit, so I did, and that was 1/2 inch on the length and 1/2 inch on the width also. I have the lovely Cricut EasyPress 3 to work with today. I've played around with it a little bit, but I'm very new to the machine, and this one actually comes with a phone app where you can operate it from your mobile phone or your tablet. And all you do is you go on, whoops, no you don't. We go on to our apps. I don't have a lot of apps on my phone. I don't use a lot of apps, so this has been a learning experience for me. I think, just let me check. Yes, I'm all connected up there. You do need to have your Bluetooth connected up. So I think I have to turn my EasyPress machine on. Let's try it. Here we go. Something's happening now. Let me just come over this way so I know that I can see what you're seeing on my app. And it basically tells you how to do it. The machine is actually warming up at the moment. Okay, so I finished. I had a practice earlier. Start new project. That's what we're going to do. And our transfer material is the Everyday Iron-On vinyl. So we're going to press that. Now we're looking for the kind of fabric we're using. Now this is 100% cotton, this fabric, but it's also like padded, because I've added padding to it, and I'm not sure if that'll make any difference. So I'm just going to put 100% cotton on there, and the machine is still warming up. Okay, we're using, it says work surface. Now you can either use a folded towel or the Cricut pressing mat, which is what I'm using. I have the large pressing mat, which I'm sure will come into good use for a lot of projects. You can also use it just to press your general sewing things as well, but a folded towel will suffice. Okay, so it's telling me that it's going to get up to the temperature of 315 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll need to preheat my fabric for 5 seconds and then apply my vinyl. Whoops, where have we gone? Here we go. For 30 seconds, and then release it and then allow it to cool. So it's still getting up to temperature. So what I'm going to do is get my vinyl pieces situated so it's ready. Okay, now it has come up. You can see, hopefully, it's come up telling me I need to warm my surface for 5 seconds. So I'm taking it off its stand here, And I'm just going to situate it in the center there, press the arrow, and it will count down. And that's just warmed the surface for me to put this on. So I'm going to be guesstimating this time about there. Oh, that's warm. Like that. And then once I've put that down, I can take my EasyPress again, and being very careful not to burn myself, I put that on, press it again, and that stays on there for 30 seconds. It's counting down here. It's also counting down on my phone as well. Take that off, and I have to let that cool. And trust me, you really do have to let it cool. I know that by trial and error myself. If you take it off before it's ready, it won't stick, and the vinyl will stretch out of position. So I need to just let that cool. While that's cooling down, I think I'll go ahead and attach some of the other flowers. I did make a few extras, and I'm going to put a couple of flowers there and some over this side as well. What I think I will do is just warm, because you can operate it manually also. So I'm just going to hold it for 5, I think. So I just want to warm it up here without touching the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way I can place my flowers better. And I think this one's cool enough now, so I can remove the covering like that. Being careful not to go over that with my other design. That and that, I think. That looks nice. Okay, so I have to maneuver it so it's on the mat properly, and so it's not getting the other part that I've already done. Okay, so I've got the countdown going. Okay, so that's that side done, and now I want to do the other side here. Okay, so that's how it's done manually as well, because we already knew our settings from this one. Okay, this side has cooled down now, so I can carefully remove the covering. So I'm up to sewing the end parts on. I've done this one end. It still needs pressing, and I just wanted to show you how I'm doing that. I'm using double fabric because this has padding in it. I thought having a double layer of the fabric on the ends would hold up better to the thickness of the wadding. And now you can use pins, or I'm just using the clips like that, and I've positioned it on the end like that. I hope you're getting this. So this will end up like that. That's the front, and it goes down, and then it goes up towards the back. So you place it on the piece like that, and then you attach it either by pins or clips on this side. And as you're going around, as you get to this curve part, I'm just trying to make sure I'm in in the camera here. I'll put it here. You clip it like that, but as you get to the curve you have to add in a little bit of ease, and instead of pulling it straight, what you do is you just kind of wrinkle it up ever so slightly, and then either put another pin or another clip on. And the same here, you just add a little bit of ease in there because it's going around a curve. And you just keep going around like that. Of course, I've got the camera in front of me, so it's a little bit difficult. You curve it around to meet it. You don't keep going straight. You curve this around, and then you keep going until it's attached all the way around. I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's all done now. As you can see, I've included the ease around the curved area. I may have been a little bit too generous, but I will work on that as I stitch it. Oops, we have a little visitor. This is Miss Bella. She doesn't really get in the videos. She hasn't been very well lately, so not looking her best. No. Oh dear, it looks comfortable to sleep on, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that and press it, and then I'll come back and I'll probably hem the bottom of it as well, and I think it will be pretty much finished then. So I'll see you when I've done that. So here is the completed cover. As you can see, it fits really nicely. The Cricut's under there, so there's a bit of wiggle room, but it's not too loose. Like the top is all padded, but the sides are not. And I was really quite happy with it. So what I've done is not only made that, I've made, I'll just move over here, I have made one for the EasyPress as well. So they sit side by side on my cabinet here, and they're nicely protected, and I'm really pleased. And I just made the EasyPress one, you can see the sides there, in exactly the same way as that I made the Cricut cover as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. Not only did I make these two covers for my machines, I made something else as well. I'll show you now. So when I was practicing my EasyPress machine, I decided to make myself some monograms on the Cricut. I just went into Cricut Design Space and made some monograms in there. They were very, very easy, and I love the way they have turned out. I'll just come up close, and it says MCC for My Cottage Crafts. And so I'll be able to, I've just not printed, I've actually just pressed these onto some nice linen. So when I make my journals and things, I'll be able to cut them out and attach them to the back of my journals and projects that I make. So very, very happy with that. And this is where I learnt about the intricacy. You have to be very, very careful. As a beginner, I'm sure the more you use these pieces of equipment, the better you get at it. But all in all, I love the way this turned out. I really do. And I have one more project to show you that I made, so I'll be back in a moment. And this is the other project that I've made. This is a hanging sign for my craft room door. This is an image that I put together shortly after I first got my Cricut machine, the Cricut Maker, and I designed it back then using Cricut Access. and I never actually did anything with it. And so I always had in mind to make a sign for my studio room door, and so I have put it together, and I've just used the same sort of fabric and wadding as I used for the Cricut cover. I have gone around the edge with some beautiful burgundy maroon kind of velvet, and I've put some beaded trim down the bottom. I've threaded a pole through the top of it, but I just don't have the right colour cord to attach to it at the moment, but it's ready to go as soon as I get some. So that's what it looks like. I used this as my practice piece when I first got the EasyPress, and I must say there is a learning curve, but I absolutely love using the EasyPress. I'm sure the more projects I do, the easier it will become for me. Even though I know there's a few mistakes on this particular thing, if it's not showing on camera, I am not going to point them out because I'm very happy with the way that this has turned out. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I've thoroughly enjoyed using my Cricut machine and my EasyPress 3, and I hope you've learnt something. I know I certainly have, and I'm sure they'll come in very useful for many projects in the future. So take care everybody, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.